Well, back by popular demand, today we're going to read some terrible reviews for a popular movie. And what better movie than Longlegs? What's up, everybody? Nick here, and tonight I wanted to bring back a series you guys really enjoyed, and I enjoyed doing, and that's reading terrible reviews to movies. And I was inspired to do Longlegs because in talking to some people in my personal life and here on YouTube, I've been surprised to see that there's a lot of people that really weren't fans of this movie. So, that being the case, I wanted to pull up Rotten Tomatoes, and I wanted to read some of the negative reviews with you guys. So you know how this goes if you're familiar with the series. I put the comment up on the screen, I read it in real time, and then you get to see my reaction. Starting off, here is a 1-star review from a user named Ola P that says, "Such a bad movie. Plot, logic, light, acting, all just meh. Save your money and skip this one." So bad and meh are not the same because meh is like average. Also, what? Light? I disagree with everything else, but light? Oh, we're off to a rip-roaring start. Kyle B gives it a 1/2 star and says, "This movie could be a tutorial on scary movie cliches. Lighting, dark and brooding. Music, thin and mysterious, except for occasional, very loud moments to go with the jump scares. Plot, unbelievable, even though it's supposed to be a serial killer plot. Acting, well, given that everything that happens is absurd, the acting was okay." There's a lot to unpack there, Kyle. First of all, jump scares, I counted one. I counted one jump scare in this entire movie. I felt like this movie was pretty devoid of that, personally. Plot, unbelievable. Well, I mean, anytime you're venturing into the realm of the occult, it's kind of, yeah, you can't really prove that stuff. Lighting, dark and brooding. I mean, yeah, it's called mood and atmosphere. I don't really know. I don't really know what to say to Kyle, but at least he said the acting was fine. All right, Kyle.
Is it scary being an FBI agent?
Chris K gives it a 1/2 star and says, "Most boring movie I've ever watched in my life. It was the theatrical version of watching paint dry. There was very minimal horror or gore or just anything. It was just talking and talking. Also, the characters were very awkward with their interactions, and it felt like a B-movie, blah, 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 blah." Okay, so this kind of review I expected to run into when talking about a movie like Longlegs. And I always take issue with this kind of review, and it was something that I saw kind of blowing up online last week when the movie came out. That's just like, scary is subjective, and this review, as well as what a lot of people were saying that didn't like it, saying it was boring, it was slow, it wasn't scary, that tells me that you're expecting like jump scares, and Longlegs is not that at all. Longlegs is a movie that is all about mood and atmosphere, and it's all about dragging it out and kind of just stringing you along until the very end where you get like a wild climax. That's just what these kinds of movies are like. So I just feel like if that's not really your forte, that's totally fine. But that, I mean, I don't know. Also, at times, I feel like that says something about a viewer. If they're like, "Oh, so boring, not scary." It's like, okay. Tyreek M gives it a 1/2 star and says, "If I could rate 0, I would. I shudder to think what you would rate Halloween Resurrection, my friend." Simon F comes in with 1 star and says, "Thin plot, unlikable characters, unrealistic. Was expecting something along the lines of Silence of the Lambs after reading some reviews. Came out feeling disappointed." Okay, I actually would compare this to Silence of the Lambs for the modern day, actually. I really would. I think that was a good comparative. I remember reading that going into it, and I'm like, okay, y'all need to calm down. No, I'd say that's a pretty good comparative. I don't think the plot's thin. If some of it was, I don't know, underwhelming, that's fine, but I think the plot's there. Unrealistic, again, guys, we're dealing with the occult. You can't really prove that stuff. You know, Satan, can't really prove that. Unlikable characters. I don't agree with that one. I think a lot of people that didn't like this movie could even say that they liked at least Mika Monroe. Like, I don't know about that.
He'll kill. And kill again.
Glenn W. gives it a half star and says, overhyped nonsense. The plot made barely any sense. Wasn't remotely scary. Cage's character seemed like a knockoff Joker. Okay. So, yeah, Nicolas Cage's performance in this movie is going to be one you love or you hate. Because he is really hamming it up and chewing up the scenery. That's what he's doing in this movie. I understand that can be abrasive to some people. I dug it. But again, with the plot made sense. I mean, come on. Fabian gives this a half star and says, the hype definitely killed this movie for me, but at the same time, the marketing was so misleading for the final product to just not be what I was hoping for. It was definitely an experience, but not at all what all these people are praising it for. Okay, so that seems like a common case of, I went into this expecting the greatest horror movie ever made, and it wasn't, so it sucked. Shayla gives this a half star and says, terrible movie, save your money. The entire plot is stupid and the trailer is very misleading. What are people talking about the trailer being misleading for? I don't understand it. No, it is not misleading at all. What? Ian K comes in with a half star and says, so boring and not scary. Ended up just looking forward to my bathroom break. Acting was good, but definitely not the scariest movie of 2024. I was looking forward to. Again, guys, with the boring and not scary. God. Looking forward to your bathroom break? It's the first time I've seen that. Nice. Acting was good? Okay. I would also agree it's not the scariest movie of 2024. Yeah. Brittany gives it a half a star and says, not scary at all. Just a bunch of talking with a periodic kill scene here and there to stop you from falling asleep. The ending sucked. Okay, so I will say, Brittany, I'll validate you in one way in saying that I felt like the exposition at the end did get a little long in the tooth. It was necessary for points of it, and I did like it, but as it kept going, I was like, okay, this is a little long. And after, ruminating on this movie, I've definitely been like, okay, I could have used less exposition there at the very end. But again, man, not scary, just a bunch of talking. You keep seeing this everywhere. Guys, I implore you to go back and watch Silence of the Lambs. Like, if someone is a big fan of a movie like Silence of the Lambs or Seven or whatever, how could you not just think this movie was at least fine? Like, I don't know. They're very similar. When did we as a society grow such short attention spans that we can't sit down and watch a movie play out on screen? And like, I don't know. It's weird. And not to be outdone, we have the man himself in the house. Longlegs gives it 1 star and says, that was so dumb and not even scary. Layla F gives it 1 star and says, this movie was so overhyped on social media, and it didn't met the hype. Honestly, it was boring, slow with bad acting, and didn't solve many points that were made. Such a bad movie, don't waste your money. Okay, well, proper grammar and spelling would help me take your review seriously. But in all seriousness, bad acting and didn't solve many points that were made? What even is that sentence? Tristan S. gives it a half star and says, so boring. The only horror aspect is that it's just plain disturbing at times. Acting was good, but everything else was just bad. Look, even like with a review like this, again, I can't really like dunk on you, because if you found it boring, like that's your taste, you have your taste, and I respect that. Because you also come at it and you say the acting was good. So like, okay, I'll give you that, but everything else was bad. Just because you were at times bored does not mean it was bad. God, there's a line there. There's a line. By the way, I got a comment on one of these videos once of someone that was like, why do you care, like, what people say? Like, why are you doing these videos? Blah, 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 blah. I don't know why you care about what people have to say in the reviews. This is all for entertainment purposes. I don't feel like I should have to say that. I feel like you guys watching it obviously know that. A lot of times I get a really good laugh out of it, and you guys really like it. So, like, I love doing it. But yeah, I don't give a shit if you like or don't like something that I liked. It's not going to change my opinion at all. I think that's Thomas, whatever. Gives it a half a star and says, this movie was terrible. Horribly slow with very little to create tension. The same tired ideas that have been used thousands of times. Uninspired and lazy. The ending was hurried and ridiculous. The concept doesn't make sense. This movie almost seems to glorify what it presents. The fuck it does. Sandy B gives it 1 star and says, the first movie I felt like walking out a half hour into. Nothing good about the movie. Why are people so overdramatic like that sometimes? With any movie, you can find something good. Come on now. You just want to be different, aren't you? Aren't you, Sandy? Magnus B gives it a half star and says, this movie sucked. Don't watch. Well, you heard it here first, guys. Magnus B tells you stay away.
You have 10 letters like it over the past 30 years.
We've got our first Anon shit poster, giving it a half star and says, I saw it at Cinemark. I wanted to walk out for the first whole hour. And then it got stupid. In other words, this movie is extremely boring until it gets really stupid. Not scary, not compelling, annoying, and straight up cringy at times. I stayed to see if the story could at least have a good turnaround, but just when you think something might change, it ends. I still want my money back. Well, you can't even put your name online when you review it, so how are they going to give you your money back in the first place, Anon shitposter? Cat C gives it 1 star and says, how this movie is so highly rated is beyond me. It's slow, bad story, writing, and overall a letdown. Cage's character seemed like a wannabe Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs. Had a lot of potential to pick up, but it never did. Very disappointing. Curtis gives it a half star and says, horrible and made no sense. Allison F gives it a half star and says, I saw the Rotten Tomatoes score and heard it was the scariest movie of the year, but boy was I disappointed. Not scary and a terrible, stupid storyline. Nicolas Cage's character wasn't frightening in the least. Don't waste your money or your time with this one. Okay, Allison. I won't. All right, this is going to be the last one before I go into my diatribe at the end here, but I saw it. I had to do it. Katie D gives it 1 star and says, this movie was so bad I made an account just to rate it. There was maybe one jump scare, and it's not scary. It's a 2-hour-long story that's never answered. I went with 3 other people, and all 4 of us wanted to leave an hour in because nothing was happening. Nothing happens until the last 20 minutes of the movie. I am going to reiterate. I'm going to look right into the camera. I'm going to talk to you directly as a viewer. Jump scares do not make something scary. And you guys are the same people that will shit on a movie if it has too many jump scares, because then it's cheap and it's hokey. You need to understand that fear is an emotion that can be created with the use of music. The way a shot is framed, a story that pulls you in and really keeps you guessing and is building this fear and this tension and this suspense throughout until you get to a payoff, leaving you with so many questions halfway through the movie waiting to get these answers. Fear is not an instant, oh my gosh, booga booga. Fear is something that lives up here, that is caused by everything happening in the periphery, not just something that pops out and scares you for a half a second. Fear is not the same for everyone. And I would make the argument that taking an audience member on a journey that is a slow burn, that is leaving breadcrumbs, that is frightening you with imagery here and there, with ideas, with questions, with mood, with atmosphere, is far more scary than watching some demonically possessed person yell at me in my face every 5 seconds out of nowhere.
Put the gun down!
Saying a movie has one jump scare or not enough jump scares is not at all a reason to say that it is not scary. It didn't scare you. That's fine. It also didn't scare me. But to sit here and say that it didn't make me feel unsettled for an hour and 45 minutes, I'd be lying. It's a truly uncomfortable watch, and that is aided by the cinematography, by the sound design, by the performances, by the subject matter itself. So for the love of God, will you stop saying that jump scares are what makes a movie scary or not? So I am not at all surprised by some of the negative reviews I saw for Longlegs. I had heard from talking to people in my inner circle and on the internet, those who didn't like it felt like the movie was slow, was boring, and wasn't scary. Those are things that are subjective. I cannot say that you are wrong, nor would I try to. If it didn't work for you, it didn't work for you. However, I come from the school of thought that I like a slow burn. I've always liked movies like that. It's one of the biggest reasons I like Ty West, because I like when a movie envelops you in its story and keeps you guessing and, strings you along until the end, because it makes that payoff all that much better. So, these complaints, they don't surprise me at all. I understand. And quite frankly, I'm surprised I didn't see more complaints about Nicolas Cage, because this is a performance you're going to love or you're going to hate. And there's really going to be no middle ground there. And again, I totally understand that as well. I just think that we as a people need to come to terms with the fact that, like, we're out of the spooky ghost movies all the time that we were getting, that were just gotten to the point where they were so long in the tooth, I didn't want to see them anymore. That was what people had grown accustomed to. Jump scares, loud noises, bangs, and oh my gosh, I'm so scared. Oh, that movie was so terrifying. But to me, those movies never scared me. That stuff just didn't do anything for me. Filmmakers like James Wan and Ty West can creep me out because they can really set a scene. I can be scared by the simplest things simply because the mood is right. There's just so much to it. It is an artistry. There's a technique to it. And shoving something in someone's face over and over trying to elicit a reaction, that's just cheap. Go about it the hard way. Put in the work, put in the effort, make me feel it. And I think Osgood Perkins did that with this movie, and I really, really enjoyed this movie. And I know a lot of you guys did too. But clearly, we are not a united society on like anything, so we're never all going to say in unison, yes, this was great. So, again, not at all surprised by these reviews, but I thought it'd be fun because I like doing these for you guys, and I thought it'd be topical because everybody's talking about Longlegs because it had a huge opening weekend, and Neon is about to have the biggest movie they've ever had, and that is really cool. But I want to hear down below in the comment section what you guys think. Leave a like on this video, subscribe to my channel if you have not already. Thank you guys so much for stopping at the Lost River Drive-In. This is Nick, and I'm pulling out.